Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Star Rail, and in today's video we have the 3 new agents coming in patch 1.1 revealed. We are going to be talking about them. We will talk about as well some speculation as to what their roles and elements in the game might be and the sorts of teams you might build. Certainly for a fact, it's something we're going to cover, which is I think very, very interesting, and we can talk about right away. We'll even talk about, by the way, Ellen, Zhu Yuan, and the value of pulling on these banners as opposed to waiting for these ones as well. But something that's very interesting is Zhu Yuan is, of course, the first member of the criminal investigations team. Qingyi is part of her faction. Seth is part of her faction. And Jane Doe is also probably part of her faction. She showed up in the intro cinematic. In fact, let me get that for you. All right, here we go. Let's actually jump in. This is from the official release trailer. They even linked this to you in game. The person you called is person you were calling is a hollow. 3.6 million people have seen this already. Let's watch the next section, which shows all of these characters. Here we go. So Qingyi, lightning weapon. Here's Zhu Yuan. Ether, ranged. You can actually play her in game in the story mode. There's Jane Doe. And there is Seth as well, right? Hang on, we go back a step. Oh, wait, back a bit, step more. There's Seth standing with a shield. So we can definitely make some predictions already. And like I said, there's been some speculation tying into these. But Jane Doe, in her official trailer, the officially confirmed information for her actually says faction unknown. I think that's probably my speculation for that one is, I mean, if you look at her and how she's dressed, she's not dressed in an official police uniform. So it definitely, you know, it's the sort of vibe that these are police agents, but she is an undercover agent. So we'll see how it goes in the story. I mean, her name is Jane Doe, right? Which is sort of like person unknown. So I think that's what's going on, is like her identity is hidden. She's an undercover agent, but she's quite likely to be part of the same faction. Now that really affects how you want to plan your pulls and your account and what you're going to do. This is something totally new that was not done in Genshin or in Honkai Star Rail. Yeah, is, well, in this game, how do you build teams? Part of it is synergizing elements. Part of it is, you know, roles that work well together. So like an attack agent like Ellen does really well with a stun unit like Lycon, for instance, obviously. But synergizing elements to unlock your additional abilities. Also synergizing factions to unlock additional abilities. Like if you run Nicole with Anby and Billy, like at the very first mission of the game, 3 cunning hairs unlocks all of their additional abilities. Well, we're getting like 4 agents back to back that are part of the same faction: Zhu Yuan, Qingyi, Seth, and Jane Doe. So that is very, very intensive. It's very intensive. Let's look at them. So Qingyi obviously is electric, almost definitely. The speculation as to her role is that she could be stun. So she'll basically be like Anby 2.0. Of course, different factions, so there will be some slight different synergies there. But yeah, as a stun electric agent, she will likely synergize very, very well with Zhu Yuan, who's a more straightforward damage dealer. And in fact, we can actually touch on that right now. Let's look at the Zhu Yuan banner, right? I would say sort of your ideal team with Zhu Yuan. It's very, very similar really to how the Ellen banner is structured. Ellen, your attack, ice damage dealer. You've got an ice support on her banner. And then, you know, if you get a stun character, Lycon is the best one because he is also ice and he really enhances the damage. So you build your standard sort of team. Attack with a stun and a support. Zhu Yuan, very similar. She's an ether attack damage dealer. You've got an ether support with Nicole. She is on the banner. So you put them together and then you put in a stun character. Anby works really well because she, although she's electric, she has the same faction as Nicole. So there you go. Very nice. But Qingyi, if she turns out to be an electric stun as well, well, she's in the same faction as Zhu Yuan, so you get the faction benefit. So she'll likely be a pretty direct upgrade to Anby over there. So that is one potential pull. So if you're going for Zhu Yuan, you might be quite incentivized to go for Qingyi as well. I think it will depend on who is in, which agents are boosted on Qingyi's banner. And I am assuming that Qingyi is the S rank right here. That is what is speculated as well. But it will depend what's on there, because that is one thing to watch out for. If you do get Zhu Yuan and Qingyi, if you're running them on the same team, yeah, like this team right here, very strong, very, very strong. But your second team might be a little bit weaker. So that's something to watch out for. I would say as well, you are, in fact, let's cover another possibility. If she is an electric stun like Anbi, you could also build just a mono electric team. So you'd have, again, fairly straightforward, Qingyi as your electric stun, Anton as your electric attack, and then Rina as your electric support. That works pretty well. Everyone gets their bonuses. They're all from different factions, but they're all electric and they all synergize together fairly well. So that could be another type of team that you could build. I would say looking at it right now, you've got a little bit of synergy between the Qingyi banner and the Ellen banner. If you don't have Lycon, Qingyi would actually fit in relatively well to the Ellen team. She would not get her additional ability because she does not have a matching faction or element, but she's likely to be more powerful than Anbi, and Anbi's who you might be slotting in otherwise, or Khalida as a limited character, she's likely to be better. So that would have some value. I would say if you have successfully built an Ellen team, and you have, I don't know, you could just do Anton, Anbi, and just work on another team. I don't know if you pull Qingyi to fully synergize. I guess, so that's a definitely question mark. We'll have to see when gameplay previews come out of Qingyi exactly how she's going to work. It'll also depend then on Seth or Jane Doe, which one. So interestingly enough, Qingyi was revealed first, then Seth, then Jane Doe. The speculation is that Jane Doe will be the S rank and Seth will be an A rank. We'll see what happens. Let's assume that is the case for now. I think it's most likely. The speculation is that Seth is going to be an electric defense. I mean, he's got a big shield. It's not really out of the question. And that Jane Doe is going to be a physical anomaly character. Let's talk about the teams that you might run with that. So with physical anomaly, one thing you could do if you've got Nekomata, and this would also, so putting her with Anbi, so Jane Doe with Nekomata and Anbi. What's the idea with this team? Well, Nekomata is a physical character, but her additional ability is really ups the damage of her X special attack when the assault anomaly is triggered. Now, you can run Nekomata right now with Piper. That is something that's interesting. If Jane Doe is an S rank physical anomaly, we already have an A rank physical anomaly with Piper in the game. And if Qingyi is an S rank lightning stun, we already have an A rank lightning stun with Anbi. So that's a very interesting thing happening with patch 1.1, right? But a physical anomaly trigger character to power up Nekomata's EX special, and then a stun character to help stun them. So at this team, you have Nekomata be activated by physical from Jane Doe and from herself, and Anbi would be activated from Nekomata being of the same faction. Qingyi would probably also fit in here as well. She'd be same faction as Jane Doe, so that would activate both of them, and Nekomata be activated by Jane Doe. So again, Qingyi is really competing with Anbi. It depends which you like. I actually quite enjoy Anbi. She's simple but fun, and I like her character. So I don't know about that. Now, the other option, of course, is an anomaly team. How does an anomaly team work? And this would work quite well if Seth is, in fact, an electric defense character. Why? Well, we'd have Seth being in the same faction as Jane, so they will activate each other. And then Grace is electric, so she would activate with Seth, so everyone will get their additional abilities. This would be a disorder team. What disorder is in this game, you can see this already with, actually, like I said, the A rank anomaly physical, which is Piper. If you run Grace and Piper together, when you have two anomalies, so Grace does shock, and then physical does assault, if you shock them first, and then you do an assault, it triggers a disorder, and it basically explodes the two anomalies for a big burst of damage. And you can do this with any elements. The reason you'd mostly do it with anomaly characters like Grace, Piper, and potentially Jane Doe is that they have the highest anomaly mastery stat, so they can build those anomalies up faster. the concept of this team is basically that Seth would be trying to defend, keep your team alive, sustain through attacks, stunning the enemy as well, triggering chain attacks and assists. So he'd be good for that, probably. And then Jane and Grace would be building up the anomalies and triggering the disorders off of each other. So it's a pretty cool team, the anomaly team. It's a very different type of team. And yeah, it's sort of like the two different style team comps, if you will. The attack stun support that we're seeing in patch 1.0, and then potentially like a double anomaly with a defense character. Seth would definitely be interchangeable. The advantage here, if he is electric defense from the same faction, as he sort of fits in well. And if he is an A rank, he's hopefully going to be easy enough to get. Like, you might get a free copy from an event, perhaps, or he probably would be featured on one of these banners. He'd synergize better with Jane Doe. He'd probably compete if Qingyi is a stun character and electric as well. He'd probably compete fairly hard with her on the team. Like, maybe you could run the two together. We'll have to see their kits. But that's sort of some of my thoughts on this right now. Again, so overall, how do I feel about these banners and what would I be looking for? So I chose to pull on the Ellen banner. I do have Lycon. I just got Ellen actually today. And obviously I've got lots of Sukaku and Anton. So my first character was Grace. I've built a good electric team with Grace, Anton, and Anbi. Now I've got, the top tier ice team with Ellen, Lycon, Sukaku. Zhu Yuan is like building an entirely different archetype. I think Zhu Yuan becomes kind of appealing if you got actually Khalida on your starter banner, or maybe you got Soldier 11, because if you got one of those, you might be building a fire team, especially Khalida, because Khalida synergizes directly with Ben, right? They have abilities to just get more powerful when they're on the same team together. So if you're building that fire team, the Zhu Yuan banner could actually be quite strong, right? Okay, we throw in, let's say, Khalida, Ben, and then a damage dealer onto, preferably Soldier 11, but it could be anyone else, onto that team, build up that team. We get lots of copies of Ben on this banner, and then we've got Zhu Yuan with Nicole and probably just the Anbi forming our second team. We've got an Ether team and a Fire team, and we're pretty well set. So that's definitely like a strong option. But I feel like if you've pulled on the Ellen banner, you're well set for ice and you've got a good electric. There's not really any synergies here. It's very, very different. So I feel like you're almost more incentivized to choose between one of the two. Qingyi is a big question mark. It's going to depend how good she is in terms of gameplay. My reservation is that she does seem kind of like Anbi 2.0. They could be very, very similar. Now, she might be just extremely strong for Zhu Yuan. So if you're going for Zhu Yuan, this could be a nice one. If you've got that, the fully maxed out Anton, I've got him up at C6 or M6. I still don't know which it is. I have him maxed out. She could be a better combo with Anton than Anbi. Is it worth pulling for a limited character for that? I'm not sure. Same thing with Seth as a lightning defense. I'm not sure. I tend to feel like the damage dealers are a bit more valuable. If Jane Doe is anomaly, that could be quite powerful. Again, sort of the problem with the 1.1 characters from my perspective is you've got good A ranks. Like, Anbi is solid enough, and Piper is solid as well. You've got solid ones in there, but they could be big upgrades, and because they're from a different faction, open up different team building opportunities. So yeah, I think Jane could be very strong. Like, for me, I'd be probably prioritizing, I've done the Ellen banner, the Jane Doe banner. If this is what it is, that could be a good one for me to pull on. I have Grace, yeah, so I could combo Jane with Grace and Anbi in there, or Seth, depending on how it goes. That could work well. I've got a Nekomata as well, so I've got potentially a couple of cool teams right there. And then I've got my ice team on the other side, and that's two very strong teams within, patch 1.0, 1.1. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still deciding. I'm also considering, just pulling for everything, whaling out, because I obviously you're going to be trying to make written guides for this as well. Stay tuned. I'll update you guys as soon as there's more info. But I think I'm in this. I'm loving Zenless Zone Zero so far. I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not on the test server or anything like that, though. So I am considering, is it worth trying to get every character so I can do in-depth guides with hands-on gameplay of each character? That's probably worth doing. But that's something that I have to think about for myself. But if you like these guides, let me know. Sub to the channel, give the video a like, all of that, and stay tuned. There will be plenty more. But yeah, that is where we're at right now. Yeah, I feel like there's a bit of a combo with Ellen Banner and then Jane Doe potentially, and Zhu Yuan and Qingyi. I feel like you could, I think they're kind of natural pairings, But of course, we will see, and I'm eagerly staying tuned in for official confirmation on what the roles and ranks of these agents will be, and what characters are going to be boosted on their banners as well, because that could have a pretty big impact. But there you go, guys. That is what we know so far, plus a bunch of speculation based off of what their rumored roles might be. I mean, I think Qingyi as Lightning is, I mean, she's got a freaking lightning wet, like, that's pretty certain at this point, I would say. So yeah, look, there we go. We'll see. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.